Hi, this is Dave from Hectors Smokehouse, and today I'm going to be cooking some pork belly burnt ends. Now some people don't like them being called burnt ends because they're not exactly the same as brisket burnt ends, but it's a nice name to call them. You could call them pork belly bites if you wanted to, but what they are is tasty bits of pork belly which are cubed up and cooked low and slow. All the fats tends to render out of them and you end up with these beautiful succulent mouthfuls of beautiful porkness. I'm going to go through the process of how to cook them, from cubing them up, but also the actual cooking method itself. They're very similar to how you cook pork ribs, so we'll go through that process and show you what they look like at the end. Today I'm going to be cooking on the Yoder YS640 pellet grill, so I'll go through that process as well. Hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please click like, and also please subscribe to the channel. So here we go, we're having a look at this pork belly. I've trimmed it up a little bit, cut it into two pieces. This has still got the skin on, so what I'm going to do is have to just trim that skin back and take the skin off before I can actually use this. So you might have to do the same. I'm making some crispy pork belly with the other half of this, so I'm quite happy to have the skin on for the other piece, but normally you can go into your butchers and actually ask for pork belly skin off and they'll actually do it with the skin off. So I'll show you what this looks like in a couple of seconds. So there we go, that's the skin done now. So you can see it's come off reasonably tidy. I took a little tiny bit too much meat off some places, but that's pretty much done. So you can see what the pork belly looks like. What I'm going to do now is cut it into cubes, and we'll cube this up and get it ready for cooking. So the idea is that we want to try and cube this around about an inch, somewhere in there. So an inch is about 25 millimeters. So we're just going to go through this very quickly and cube this up, and we're going to make little cubes, and then those cubes are going to have a rub added to them as we go through, and then they'll go on the barbecue. So that's them done lengthways. Now I'm going to turn them around and cut them into cubes. So there you go, that's the pork belly all cubed up. They're not obviously even in height, so quite a few of them are different in terms of height, but it doesn't matter, and they'll cook pretty good and all this fat will render through. So what we'll do now is get these ready for putting some rub on. So the Yoder's at 250F. I'm using pecan and cherry today. And what I'm going to do now is put the pork belly in. But what I've done is I've also put a pan at the bottom of there, foil pan, so that when this fatty pork melts and drips, it's not going to go all over the smoker. So I'll try and keep that a little bit cleaner. So we'll just put that in there, which is perfect. And then obviously anything that drips off there is going to drip in there. It can drip into the Yoder and then go into the bucket at the bottom, but my preference is to try and keep it nice and clean. So we'll leave it in there now for 3 hours, and we'll come back in 3 hours and see what they actually look like. So the pork burnt ends are nearly ready to go to the next stage. The next stage is to put them into a foil pan with some butter and honey and some brown sugar. So they've been on the go for nearly 3 hours now at 250. So I think I'm ready now to take them out, and we'll actually wrap them up. So I'll show you that process next. So we're going to have a look at the pork belly now, and we're going to put it into a foil pan with some honey, some butter and some brown sugar. So here they are. These are the pork belly bites. Really good advice, good tip. I always wear a pair of cotton gloves and then put on the plastic gloves over top, the vinyl gloves. And this works really, really well to stop your hands from getting burnt when you're handling hot meat. So I've put a link in the bottom of the video so you can actually look at these on Amazon, because I bought these on Amazon. So all we're going to do is start to take these pork belly bits off of here and throw them into the pan. So these feel pretty good at the moment, but obviously they need to get a bit more tender. There's a little bit of colour on them. But we want to be getting them really soft and tender like you would a pork butt or like you would some ribs. So we'll move that out of the way. And there you go. So there's the actual pork belly bites. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some butter. So there's probably in here, I think there's about a stick or so of butter in here that I'm going to actually put on these. And then during the cook, I'll actually put my hands in there and give them a bit of a stir around. So we'll put some of that in there with the pork belly. We're going to also add some brown sugar, probably half a cup or so there. We'll just sprinkle this over the top as well. So this is just adding lots of sweetness into the pork belly, because we want them to be nice and sweet spice barbecue-y flavours. So there's some brown sugar in there. And then we're going to add some honey as well. So obviously any nice honey that you can get locally will be really good. This is just a local Australian honey, but anything you can get, especially anything with wildflowers or anything like that, will be always really tasty. And this is just an off-the-shelf one from a supermarket. So probably not the best one you can get, but should be tasty enough. So there you go. So you can see what I've done, what we've put in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to foil this up. I'm going to use a double foil on top of there. And foil this up nice and tight. I want it to steam. So the intention is for the actual pork belly bits to actually steam in that lovely liquor that's in there, the sweet liquor. And then they've already been on for about 3 hours. So I may be looking at another hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I'll have a look at them, see what they feel like, and decide whether they come off. But you're really trying to get the right sort of texture as you get towards the end of the cook. So we'll come back, I'll put these on the grill, and we'll have a look at these in about 2 hours' time. So we're going to put the pork belly bites back onto the Yoder. They're going in the top shelf again, and they'll go up to now 300 degrees F, and I'll probably leave them for another hour and a half to 2.5 hours. We'll see when they're actually done, so we'll come back and look at these soon. So the pork belly burnt ends have been on now for just about an hour. So what I'm going to do is give them a quick toss in this liquid. Again, I've got the trusty gloves on, and you can see them in there. So we'll just give them a bit of a toss in this liquid, move them around a bit so they get a good coating, and then we're going to leave them to get steam again and get nice and hot. And starting to feel pretty nice, but I still think a little bit longer, so we'll put them back on again and we'll have a look at them in another half an hour to an hour and see what they look like then. Okay, so here are the pork belly burnt ends. Looking pretty good, if I may say so myself. So they're looking pretty good now. They're nice and squishy, starting to fall apart. Oops, you can see them falling apart, which is really good. They've been on for about 2 hours on top of the grill at 250. Then I cranked it up to 300, and I've cooked them now for a further hour and a half in that broth with the butter and honey. So I've just poured that out, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give them a quick 30 minutes. And what I've got in here is I've got a cup of one of my favourite sauces. So this is Blues Hog Competition. You can use any sauce you want. So just pour this on top of them. There we go. So there's a cup of barbecue sauce. You can use any barbecue sauce you like. Whatever you fancy, whatever you enjoy, whatever you enjoy the taste of, will be perfect for these. So you just want to make sure these are nicely coated. Again, got the gloves on. These are just at the point where they are starting to fall apart, which is good. It means the fat's rendered, which is fantastic. So they're all done, and they're going to go on now for another 30 minutes, and in 30 minutes these will be ready to serve. That's it. There's the bent ends, all finished. So we'll give them a taste, get them out of there, give them a taste and see what they're actually like, but they look pretty goddamn good to me. Well, that's it. That's the pork belly bent ends. They've turned out really good. I'm really impressed with these. So what we had was, we cooked them for 3 hours, just on the top on that cooling mesh tray. So 3 hours at 250. We then put them into the foil pan, and in the foil pan we added the liquid, the sweetness into there, and foiled it up for 1.5 hours at 300 degrees F. And then the last 30 minutes was just in this pan with the Blues Hog, and you can see the burnt ends in there. So I think it's turned out pretty well. I'm going to have a go at one of these and see what it's actually like. So that looks really nice. Oh my word, that is unbelievable. The fat's rendered down, actually gone a little bit crisp as well, so there's a bit of bark on there as well. They are stunningly good. Oh wow. Highly recommend you do this recipe. Very simple and easy to do, but incredibly tasty. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click like and please subscribe to the channel. See you again soon. Bye bye.